Hello everyone, Helen here. Welcome to my Mousie podcast, my last proper chat of 2022, and more of that later. And so sit back, I'm just going to have a little chat with you today and tell you about my Christmas preparations and some of my plans for December. And so I think that's it today really. And I have, of course, been crafting things for Christmas, with Christmas in mind, for all year, really. I think, even in January, I'm already making gifts for people for birthdays or putting aside for Christmas. And I think that's what we do, isn't it? Those of us who craft things, we're just busy all the time and set things aside. And so I don't have any huge rush towards Christmas now. So it's all calm. It's nice that I have some things, handmade things to give to people, but there's no real pressure at all because it's all been spread out through the year. So that's really nice. But I have recently had a very nice evening at my WI group. We had a Christmas craft evening and we were making Christmas decorations. There was a selection of little scraps of Harris tweed and then a few other bits and bobs that we could put together to make little Christmas tree decorations. I think most of us made an actual Christmas tree shape, so a nice just triangle of the tweed and a backing of felt and a cinnamon stick for the trunk. And it was such a lovely evening. It was probably, I would say, calmer and quieter than usual because everybody was so busy with their hands. It was lovely, actually. I went round and took a few little videos, as you can see, of people's hands being busy because it just felt really, really lovely. It was a real feeling of togetherness, but we were all focusing on, working with our hands. So it was very nice. My Christmas tree turned out to be a little bit rustic because the trunk ended up a bit wonky, but anyway, we don't mind it. We'll just say I meant it to be like that. Trees are not always dead straight, are they, anyway? So that was really nice. And then we've just had here in my house our annual Christmas family Crafternoon. So a few members of my family get together and we just sit and make things. Some usually mostly things for Christmas, but not necessarily. When we were almost all there in person, my two nieces, Nell and Libby, they were on Zoom, but they were busy doing their Christmas crafting. Nell, who is 12, it was knitting a snowman, and Libby was making Christmas cards. So that's really good. And so we were able to chat while we were busy. My daughter, Sarah, she was busy knitting a Christmas star. She's making a few as gifts. And she was knitting it from some lovely Scapier's yarn that I hadn't come across before. I think it's called Stardust. And it's not only is it fluffy mohair type of thing, but it also has little metallic bits in it. So it's got a bit of sparkle about it. So it's really lovely. So she was busy with that. My mum was busy making some Christmas tree decorations using some wooden rings, and she was wrapping around some just little scraps of Christmas fabric and then adding some dangly thing in the middle and a hanger. So that's what she was doing. My sister, Claire, she had a bit of a production line going of Christmas gift tags. She was making like little mistletoe. She'd found some self-adhesive felt, so she was just cutting leaf shapes out of those and then sticking on tiny white balls for the berries, so they looked really nice. Not everybody was doing Christmassy things. My son just did a bit of sketching of a little owl, and my mother-in-law was there and she was just finishing off a fabric basket that she had started quite some time ago, so that's all finished now. And I just sat there doing a little bit of watercolour painting practice, just some little Christmas pictures, and I was just practicing drawing holly and things like that. So we had a really, really nice time. The best thing about it was that we just sat together and had a nice chat together. So that was really lovely. And I think I'm definitely going to be crafting my way through December because I've bought myself 2 advent calendars which involve being creative. The first one I haven't got to show you yet because I know it's in the post now. It's on its way to me. So the first one is an embroidery one, and it's done by the designer Corinne Lapierre, who does lots and lots of patterns of things made of felt, but which have got embroidery on them as well. And so this advent calendar, you end up with a panel of felt, a big square panel of felt, and each day you make one little item, embroider, I don't know, an animal or other item, which you then attach to the backing, and you end up with a picture. And when I was in Lucy Locketland the other week, she had some of the previous finished panels on display just to show what kind of thing you make. But obviously the new one for this year, nobody knows what the picture's going to be. So I'm not very good at embroidery. It's not one of my best skills. So I thought doing a little bit of daily practice would be great. And and it's not meant to take more than 10 to 15 minutes a day, hopefully. Hopefully it won't take me longer than that. And I'll get a bit of practice every day. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. And then the other creative thing that I'm doing is what I did last year, which was to join in with a daily Advent tutorial on Harriet of the De Winton Paper Co. YouTube channel. And she just showed you how to paint a little watercolour picture of something to do with Christmas every day through Advent. Last year I just made myself some little squares of watercolour paper and then I ended up sticking all of the pictures into my winter journal, which I showed you last year and which I'll show you again because I'll add to it a bit more during this winter. But this year I thought I would treat myself to the actual A4 printed sheet with all of the days and the squares already drawn out. And although I could do that bit myself, I was interested in buying it as part of a kit. So in the kit you get 2 nice, very fine paintbrushes and a little set of watercolour paints, which are going to be the exact ones that Harriet will be using in the in her tutorials. And that means that'll help me to be actually mixing the right colours, because I know that I've got the same same set as she has. So, and again, that should just take me about 10 minutes a day, so it's not really time consuming. So that's that. And then one final advent calendar, 3, that's getting a bit carried away here, but this one has been it's an extra treat. It's been paid for by the lovely people who have made donations to my Ko-fi account, to my Ko-fi page that I set up a few weeks ago. And so the idea of that is that, people can just donate a very small amount of money to say, right, I'm going to treat you to a coffee to say thank you for making videos that I enjoy watching. And so I had a sudden brainwave. I'd been fancying one of these bird and blend tea advent calendars for ages and ages, and I thought, no, I can't really, it's a bit extravagant. I thought, right, I know what I'll do. I'll spend this Ko-fi money on all of these cups of tea, 24 different cups of tea. There's actually 2 tea bags in each day, apparently, so I'm going to share it with Phil so we can both enjoy the tea together, and that's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it, trying out all sorts of different teas. I think they're probably mostly going to be kind of fruity or herbal teas. I'm not sure, but I think so. But I like that kind as well. My favourite teas, apart from the kind of the daily tea that I drink, are chamomile and fennel and peppermint teas. Those are my 3 real favourites, but I'm looking forward to discovering some new ones. And it'll be nice to have, I'll be able to have my cup of Advent tea while I'm busy painting or embroidering or whatever. So that's going to be really great. Yeah, so yeah, those are my Advent calendars. And I have treated myself to one more thing, which is not an Advent calendar, but I don't know, I expect that quite a few of you watching watch the lovely, lovely lady Paula from the YouTube channel Stitched by Mrs. D. She really is the loveliest person, and I very much enjoy watching her. She's very quirky, very individual, but yeah, she's such a nice person. Anyway, she sews absolutely beautifully, and she knits and other things as well, but she sells things that she sews. And so apart from project bags and that sort of thing, she also makes little toys from time to time, and she does them just limited edition toys in completely her own style. They're absolutely beautiful. So she does things like teddies, and I think she's done cats before. She might have done rabbits. I'm not sure about the rabbits. But anyway, for Christmas this year, she decided she would do mice. Well, as soon as she said that, you know, my ears prick out up whenever I hear mice mentioned, since it's a favourite thing of mine to make. So I thought, oh, I'd love to have one of Paula's Christmas mice. So I took a particular note of when the shop update was going to happen, and I was lucky enough to be able to buy this gorgeous, gorgeous little mice. It's so Paula's style. It's like no other mouse, but it is a mouse. So lovely, and it's got a little hand knitted jumper, little skirt made out of Christmas fabric, and she's got her fancy knickers on, and I got a little card that came with it as well, and telling me that this little mouse is called Pudding, and that her favourite festive food is Stollen. So that's pretty good, because we like Stollen here as well. And she's already settling in really well with all of the other mice on my shelf there. And I'm really, really going to treasure her. She really is beautiful. So yeah, a nice little treat there. So yeah, what else? So finished projects. Well, when I was chatting to you just a week ago, and I said I wasn't sure when I would get my hot water bottle cover finished, because I was working on the neck of the hot water bottle. And actually I have finished it. So I'm going to show you that now. So this was bought as a kit from the shop Lucy Locketland. And yeah, it's called, the pattern is called No Miogo's Foraging. And it's knitted in Shetland Spindrift. So I had to do a lot of rounds of rib at the top, but I'm really glad that I actually did the number that it said in the pattern, because then I've been able to fold it over, and then fold it over enough for the top of the hot water bottle not to stick out. I had to do an I-cord for the tie around the neck, because there was one place where you had to put a round of holes in there. So that is all ready to be used. Well, you can see it's got water in it now. You had to block it by soaking it, as you often do with woolen things, for a little while, and then squeeze all the water out. And then I put the empty hot water bottle inside and kind of just, well, not stretch it, but I kind of just formed it so that it was fitting the shape of my hot water bottle, and then filled it with cold water. This was all instructions in the pattern, told you to do this, and then left it to dry like that, and it is super. And one of you lovely viewers, I think it was Patricia, said that she not so long ago made a hot water bottle cover made out of 100% wool, and found that it keeps her hot water bottle warm for much longer than normal. So that's an added bonus. I suppose when you do colour work, you do have an extra layer, don't you, because of all the strands going across the back. So yeah, really pleased with that. And I also showed you last time just the head of a reindeer from another kit that I bought, and he is now finished, because I just couldn't resist keeping going with him. No housework got done, but the reindeer got finished. It's more important. So he has now his Christmas jumper. He's got some little shorts on. I had to embroider some speckles on the top of his head, and he looks absolutely lovely. So he is going to be a gift for someone. But, I think the only thing, if I made him again, I might do the trousers a different colour, because the brown doesn't show up that well against his skin. Although I decided to make the bottom of his trousers red so that it sort of gave a bit more definition to them. But so that was lovely. And the pattern designer, Julie Williams, I mean, I think you could follow her patterns without being a very experienced knitter, because she goes into so much detail. There's so much help there with photos and then extra little tutorials you can go to on her website as well. So you need never really be stuck on what to do. And she gives detailed information about, even just how to stuff the different parts. So so there we go, the little reindeer who's going to go to a new home at Christmas. So those two things I got finished, and then I have started a new project just 2 or 3 days ago to sort of work on through the winter. I always like to have a blanket to work on, so I decided to do the fireside blanket by Lucy, another Attic 24 blanket. I think nearly all of my blankets are Attic 24 blankets, and I thought for a change, I like that. I like the kind of muted warm colours in it, but I also thought I fancy doing a blanket with squares and practising the join as you go method, which I haven't really done very much. I think I might have done it once before, but I haven't done it for quite a while. And so this is what I've done so far. I have done 10 squares, and this is as wide as it's going to go, apart from when you add the border. It's got quite a wide border on it as well. And some of the squares are going to be bigger than this, but there's sort of 2 sizes of squares. And that's going to be really nice just to work on. And I quite like that, the idea that you've got a little bite-sized bit to do. I mean, I love doing striped blankets as well, because you can sit down and you can think, right, I'm just going to do one stripe right now or whatever. And each of these squares is taking me about probably 20 minutes to make, including sewing in the ends, because Lucy says in the pattern that she strongly recommends that you sew in the ends as you go, which is always a good idea. And when I do striped blankets, I tend to do about probably 10 stripes and then sew in some ends. But this one, so far, I have sewn in all of the ends each time I finish a square. So that's quite good. So I'm going to enjoy working on that. And it's nice when it gets a bit bigger and it starts to warm your lap up a bit as well. And I have started some socks as well. I'll not show you those because I haven't got very far with them. So I think that's it. And so the last thing to chat to you about is Vlogmas. I have done a kind of Vlogmas for the last couple of years, although probably not Vlogmas in the true sense of the word. To me, a proper Vlogmas is where somebody is doing a video diary of what they're doing each day on the run up to Christmas. And I love watching other people's Vlogmases. So I haven't done one quite like that before. But what I have done has been very, very time consuming. And, and when I finished last year's, I had grand ideas for what I was going to do this year, which was going to be even more time consuming. But then gradually, as this year has gone by, I've had a bit less time for doing that sort of thing because, I've got more than twice as many piano pupils now as I did this time last year. So that's one thing that's taking up quite a lot more of my time. And I suppose maybe getting a camper van earlier this year, that's taken a little bit more time and taken my attention a bit. But yeah, so I was in a real dilemma about what to do this year. Whether I could actually carry out the ideas that I had. And so I've really had to think hard. I actually looked back on my notes that I made before I did the podcast about how to say no without feeling guilty, to read through some of those questions and things to think about, because in the first place I was thinking, oh dear, if I don't do it, I'm going to disappoint lots and lots of people, because I know that lots of people really enjoyed watching my daily Advent videos last year and the year before. And so I needed to think about, right, was I going to do it just because I didn't want to disappoint people, because I wanted to please people? And after kind of a lot of thinking, I realised that I really did want to do something. I just love that idea of kind of being a physical Advent calendar or a video Advent calendar, that a few people can just go and open the door each day and briefly say, oh yes, this is what's inside, and then close, then go off and do the rest of the day. So I thought, no, I really, really did want to do something, but I had to rein in all of my grand ideas, which are still all written down, so don't worry. Should I get the chance, then I will be using those ideas another time. But so I've decided, though, that I really had to look at things a little bit differently to last year. And of course, it's still more time consuming than I was imagining, but I am working on it. And so I can say that I will be popping in every day during Advent. So from the 1st of December right up to the 24th, you'll see me for a very short time, less than 3 minutes. They'll each be between 2 and 3 minutes long. But I hope you'll not be disappointed. I hope you will enjoy just treating it as an Advent calendar that you might have on your wall, and you just open the door, have a look inside, and then get on with the rest of the day, sort of thing. I know I'm not obliged to do it. Nobody's paying me to do it, but I do get a lot of pleasure from putting together something like this, and I just hope that it will give a little bit of pleasure to your day each day in Advent. So I'm not going to say any more about it, though, because I don't really want to give anything away at all. And all I'll say is that I'm not going to have the comments open to on every day of Advent. I really don't want people to feel like those of you who are so lovely and always put comments on things, I don't want you to feel obliged to have to comment on each day. So what I've decided to do is just enable comments on certain days. I nearly gave something away there. Right. Okay. So you'll be able to comment, but not necessarily on every day. I really do hope you enjoy, because I have put actually quite a lot of hours into it already in preparation for making the daily videos. So I think with that I am going to say goodbye, and I'll wish you a very happy and healthy and not too busy run up to Christmas. And I'll be back again with proper chatty videos in January, hopefully with lots of lovely things to tell you and show you, maybe even a camper van trip or two, who knows, I might get away. Hopefully I will. But until then, take great care of yourself. I'll see you again soon. Okay then, bye.